just can't stop thinking about you. I just can't stop thinking about you.
Head underwater, falling back into you. I thought we'd be smarter, I got nothing left to lose. You said you fall with me, no matter how far it goes. Down deep and under, we're stuck in this pattern, but I need you close. All I ever wanted
Kia ora e te whānau, no mai, haere mai, and welcome to Whanganui Ātara. We are here at McAllister Park in the nation's capital to bring you coverage for the second day of the 2026 Ultimate Championships. Here in New Zealand, we have a bit of a high caliber match for your screens this morning, folks. It's the Wellington Wildcats, the reigning champs, here to retain their position atop the mountain, facing off against the Ōtākaro Punters, who they most recently faced at a stage like this in the finals of last year's Ultimate Championships. Now, as always, my name is Blair Munro.
And I'm Andy Russlin.
And it is a joy once again to be your eyes and ears on the ground to provide context and commentary for the very best sport in the world with the help of the Ulti TV crew, without whom none of this would be possible. And speaking of making this possible, a huge thanks, of course, to Wellington Ultimate for hosting the event, New Zealand Ultimate for their support, their development of the sport throughout the national community, the Wellington City Council, without whom we wouldn't have been able to find the grounds on which we are bringing you coverage of the sport, Pure Sports Nutrition as well, for making sure that our athletes stay in fighting fit shape. Wildcats on your screen at the moment, so we'll be seeing the Wellington Wildcats play out of the dark kit. Ōtākaro Punters will be playing in light. It's going to be a game to 15 here, folks. We've got 90 minutes on the clock. But you might as well get up out of your seats to save you jumping up every so often throughout the course of this match anyway.
Yeah, finals rematch and perhaps a finals preview, as both of these teams came in today, having both been undefeated yesterday in their pool play. So this will be a very, very tightly contested match, I anticipate. High level ultimate.
The wind, as always in Wellington, is picking up quite extensively. We've got a little bit of a cross breeze here. It's blustering from the far side of the field down to the near, or essentially the top of your screens to the bottom. The Wildcats are going to be taking stage on the right-hand side of your screen. A little bit of sideline support, although clearly they're looking in the wrong direction, some of them.
they'll get the message pretty quick. But the wind also gusting a bit in addition to being a crosswind, so very challenging conditions. But the Wellington Wildcats for sure used to playing in these kind of conditions. Ōtākaro, we'll see how they handle it.
We're only moments away from kicking off, although we have had the who to go already. You can see in the top left corner of your screen. 3 and a bit minutes on before the opening pull. Looks like we are going to see Ōtākaro starting on defense. So we've got O'Hara with the disc for the pull. Hands up from the Wildcats, ready to go. Joe, Whitlock, Hogg, Penaya Smith out on the line.
It's an intimidating O-line for sure.
Good, strong pull from O'Hara with a nice amount of float. Great hang time. Plenty of opportunity for the chase to come down, but it's Penaya Smith getting it in hand early. Quick reset through to Joe. Finds Whitlock open on the near sideline. Completely unmarked for a huge huck. Looking to send it deep. Plenty of float and time. Well fielded. Harvey Brown loses a few yards. Going back to Hogg for a safe reset. Chip shot through to Ketty. Ketty through to Whitlock for the score. Wellington Wildcats showing why they are the champs. 1-0 with a great offensive hold for Ōtākaro, over Ōtākaro.
Great box out by Brown on that long pull, that long throw from Whitlock. That he saw the disc coming up, read it well, and got himself in a position to take that down.
Now, it does raise the question, though, Andy, is why was Whitlock so open on that near sideline? An uncontested huck for the Hoodie Putty Hammer, the big bomber himself. It's an interesting defensive choice, and it makes sense. You know that Whitlock has the range. He's probably going to send it deep if he's been given the option. But from what we could see, it wasn't as though Ōtākaro were really contesting that deep space by having a poach player or a free player available to provide some double coverage on those deep options.
Yeah, it was an interesting choice, and you know, Whitlock definitely had the look in his eye when he got the disc. You knew he was going to put it long, and he has the options downfield with this lineup to put those every time. We'll see how Ōtākaro adjusts to that.
Bowen with the disc for the pull. Gardner there on the line as well with Sheridan. Bowen and Sheridan, a lot of playing experience together. Sheridan was actually coaching the Hutt Valley Boys High School team that we saw James Bowen playing on for the recent secondary school Ultimate Championships. Dempster with the disc facing down against a Wildcats zone goes to Douglas. Through to Clark on the near sideline. Gets a big bite. Goes back to Dempster. Finds Eleveld, who drives up the far sideline to Chung. Straight through the middle to Eleveld again with some give-go work. Douglas open on the near sideline. The disc goes. Wildcats collapsing to a match defense. Gardner aggressive on the mark. Can't stop the shot going through to Chung. Quick shot finds Francis. Marked by Sheridan. One more. And Douglas. Bryn Douglas going to pull that one down for the score, tying the game. A perfect offensive point. Wildcats did it in 4. Ōtākaro Punters did it in 12. A string of great passes to move the defense around, working through both the zone and a transition to match. But they didn't really look like they were under that much pressure at any point during that possession.
No, there was some lovely give-go action here through the middle, as we see with this replay. Never really giving the defenders time to get set, to get prepared. Supported by great cuts downfield. This is a well-coached, this is a well-drilled team. High-level play from both teams.
Now, interestingly, Bryn Douglas, who has done so much work on the upfield side of the disc, really, really solid handler. We've seen him used to great extent throughout a lot of the New Zealand youth scene, particularly in under-20s, under-24s. On the other side of the disc, working the downfield today. So really should give you an indication as to the kind of depth of talent on this Ōtākaro Punters line. Huge amount of athleticism and power both in front of and behind the disc.
It raises a question for me of how much are these teams giving away to each other, maybe anticipating that they're going to see each other again later in the tournament, maybe in the final. How much do you give away with your tactics and strategy?
Yeah, well, I mean, considering that both of these teams have made the finals previously, this is a pretty significant clash for them. I'd say that both these teams have a pretty solid understanding of what the others are capable of.
Right.
And so it might just be a case of those opening blows, just sort of a trading exchange to sort of feel things out. Considering that the outcome of this game is going to dictate seeding for the top 4 and how these things... Oh, a little bit of shoulder contact there from Ketty. Whitlock on a great undercut, marked by Lee, puts the big shot up again. Overthrowing Harvey Brown, a hard thing to do, but great defensive pressure there from Punters. Yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see whether or not they kind of just not hold back a little, but whether or not they give it everything in this match to make a statement.
Ōtākaro wasting no time in getting the disc back into play.
Lewis, big fakes, works to the midfield. O'Hara has it now. Continues to the far sideline. Off the fingertips of Lewis.
I was just about to say the wind not really having too much an effect on these guys, but maybe the wind caught the edge of that disc a little bit, made it a little bit harder catch.
Finds Kitty on a nice inside opportunity. Shot through to Joe, and a big layout. Justin Lee.
Amazing block. They came to play today, Blair.
In zone denial is the call. It's the watchword.
That'll wake you up in the morning.
Oh boy, the best part of waking up. It's not Folgers in your cup, folks. It's a horizontal block in the end zone. Punters working back the other way. An attempt by Kubra isn't going to be enough. O'Hara hits the up line, looking for the return pass from Lewis. Finds the inside shot instead to Trubshaw. Quick continuation to Hayes. The forehand huck on the near sideline. McFarlane. Quick offload to Trubshaw, marked by Panaya. There's the fumble. Jackson Joe has an opportunity to come back and do it again. Panay Smith faking out the cycling resets. Hogg available there behind. Still looked off. Kitty on the undercut. Little bit of a slip there from Craddock. Can't stop the next one. Smith through to Whitlock. One and done. Great offensive play there by the Wildcats. We have dispensed with the clean holds here, folks. Turns on turns, but Wildcats still working hard. They're going to be able to come down with it.
Yeah, not a clean hold, but still a hold nonetheless. That point to me really showed, I love Panaya's almost casual nature as a handler. He has such confidence and such skill.
Big fan.
Yeah. You just feel when he's got the disc near the end zone like that, he's going to find the right player, he's going to find the right throw. And he did there.
Now, it's an interesting thing because we saw punters really pouring on the defensive pressure to generate those turns. There were some big blocks. While we did see Wildcats make some pretty extensive bids to try and get the block there, the turns that they were generating, certainly the last one, the crucial turn, was a fumble off the hands. It didn't. I don't know to what extent a Wildcats player actually got in and had a touch on that disc. So even though the scoreline is currently 2-1, I do think punters maybe had it on that point. Wildcats definitely have the capability to answer, to fire back big. They are the champions for a reason.
Yeah, the punters did show that they had a chance to make a break. And that will give them the confidence going forward in the game that they can do it again.
Leach puts the big pull up. Dempster with the disc in the midfield. Oh, that's what the Wildcats need there to try and break the game open. Leach has the disc now. Sheridan scrambling, puts the big shot up. A lot of float, and that is shut down. Francis hits the low release, finds Clark, goes for the give-go through to Douglas. Puts the big shot up.
Wow.
Well taken, and a quick offload to Clark for the score. A necessary hold for punters to tie the game and keep themselves in it.
What I loved about that play there from Swanson was he was somewhat responsible for the initial turn. I mean, he had to make a really hard play to try to grab the disc, but he did. The turn did result from a pass going off of his hands, but he put himself back into position, got into the defense, made the crucial grab on defense, and then was there available for the score.
So the game having gone 2-2, Ōtākaro Punters with a great hold there. Only one turn apiece, so able to generate it back. Wildcats offense now. Hog, Whitlock, Keddy again. Some of those textbook offensive powerhouses for the Wildcat side. Joe as well, and Panaya.
Wind starting to pick up here.
There's the pull. Well fielded, quick, low, but Whitlock keeps it in hands. We're going to see Punters coming down with a zony-ish defense. A little bit of switching and poaching to try and pressure the disc there. Can't stop it moving, though. The disc finds the inside shot. Keddy, quick offload to Joe. Panaya Smith available as the reset. Decides instead, hits the inside break to Keddy. A layout take to keep that one in hand. Kubra offloading to Joe, faking off Whitlock on the near sideline. Keddy with a layout, but it comes out a little low. He slides over the top, and Punters have a shot for a break.
The zone doing its job there, making enough passes. Eventually one might be a mistake.
McFarlane with the disc. Hits a hot-stepping Lewis, looks off in favor.
And another turn.
Big touch by Hogg, that's gonna get it. Wildcats with a shot here, they need this hold. It's still early days, but that's one of the reasons why every point becomes so important. You cannot afford to give up momentum at any point in the match. Whitlock, nice and open, despite a great attempt by Cooper. Crossfield shot, Hogg, oh, the wind making a play. Great find in Hogg on that far sideline. The wind pushing the disc just out of his reach, which at his height is a hard thing to do at the best of times.
Yes.
McFarlane takes the reset from Cooper. Coming back to Lewis, a lot of youth experience on this punter side. Pash with the disc, the high release around to McFarlane. A great handler for the punter side. Goes for the offhand backhand, straight through to Pash with a little dishy. Goes over to Lewis. Jack Lewis puts that one on the board, and the Punters get their first break of the game. Not just their, the first break of the game.
It is a game, folks. We're waiting for that first break. Both teams had an opportunity for breaks this game already, but Punters the first one to take advantage.
Absolutely. I mean, and doing so in only a handful of passes as well, being able to pressure, really generate that defense, building the momentum, and then able to just tip the scales right at the last second, and then a strong push back upfield to put that one away. So they'll be really, really happy with that. We're seeing both teams, the full team on the line, providing that additional information. Considering what the conditions are like, it wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see that punter's zone coming out again, especially considering that we don't have an upwind, downwind on this field, folks. It's arranged perpendicular to most of the other fields here at McAllister Park. So where other fields have a dominant upwind, downwind direction, which helps the team working downwind, we have a cross breeze. So we have a high side and a low side. A zone in a cross breeze, especially when you've got such a dominant wind direction, it's going to be really, really effective. But that zone requires good off-field communication from the rest of your team, which might be why we've seen all of the players getting involved and making sure that everyone is tapped into the strategy moving into this next point. We've got Lewis with the disc.
Yeah, both sidelines real fired up for this game, really into it. We're hearing a lot of communication from the sidelines. It's really great to see.
Huge pull from Lewis. It's going to be fielded, touch and roll to Panaya. Finding Leach, going back to Panaya Smith. Pushes to the far side, finds Sheridan. Back to Panaya, pinned down, puts the high shot up and around to an open Whitlock, uncontested. Holsters the first shot, goes for a line drive at short range to Joe. Reset, losing yards. Can't stop the around. Goes through to Leach. Big fake and a slide, but it's not going to be enough. Penaya in motion. He's working hard. Whitlock has the disc, far sideline. Comes low. Jackson Joe losing yards, going back around. Sheridan cycling back through. We are going to see a pick called in the downfield. Goes back to Sheridan. Gets a bite from Cooper on defense. Hugely contested by Hayes, but it finds the hands of Bowen. Snapshot straight through to Whitlock. Joe available open on the far sideline. Decides instead to keep working the middle of the field to Leach. Back to Whitlock. Cuts happening in the midfield. Up and around to Bowen. A little aerial pirouette there from Bowen. But yes, as you say, a pick called in the downfield space.
As the game ramps up in intensity, we start to see a few more of those pick calls coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where a player is so good at sticking to their offensive counterpart on defense, the positioning of other players makes a huge impact. And even though it's, an inside break from Whitlock to find Joe, a great position, goes cross field, finds Leach in the end zone to tie the game, 3-3.
Beautiful find there at the end.
Incredible find.
Yeah, and having the skill and the ability to make that throw in these winning conditions as well, what an asset to the team.
I mean, that's what makes one's neck heavy with medals, you know?
Absolutely.
Patience as well, cool under fire, recognizing that the pressure was there and just finding that beautiful long inside shot, crossing the field, wide open, well taken.
Yeah, as you say, Blair, the intensity level has definitely ramped up here after the first break of the game. Both teams are really fighting hard on offense and defense. You can tell the game means a lot to them, even though it's a power pool game. It feels like a final.
Yeah, and just a little bit of inside baseball, as it were. 26 passes by the Wellington Wildcats in that possession alone, which I believe is more than all of the points they've scored up till this point to date. So, score being 3-3. Yeah, 26 passes in the 1 point. Huge work there by the Wildcats to just maintain possession and changing the angle of attack, giving them a stronger possibility to put that one away and tie the game. So, defensive now. Big pull from Taylor. Nice and long. Eleveld pushing through to Douglas. Pushes through, great attempt there. Finds Clark. Francis.
Wow.
Manages to put that one away.
He only had millimeters to make that throw, and he found it.
That's all you need, really,
yeah.
on a good day.
Sure.
What a beautiful put there. Tight. Tight.
And another hold from Punters, keeping their advantage.
Only just. I mean, it's only ever a 1 point game at the best of times. But yeah, sometimes that's all you need. You know, you think Wildcats started on offense having conceded a break in the first half. What that means is if we keep this trading going throughout the rest of the half, it'll be 8-7, and then the Punters would be coming out on offense with an opportunity to hold. So that break at this stage in the game really does make all the difference. Now, we still have a lot of game left to play, obviously. Right. We're racing to 15 today, folks. We're seeing a timeout called. Or possibly not. No, it's just an actual Wildcats huddle on the far sideline.
Staying warm, perhaps.
Yeah, I think that might be the case. But yeah, still a lot of game to play and a lot of opportunities for the momentum to swing back. But here at 3-4, that break means the world to the Punters.
comes the pull.
Joe goes through to Panaya. Crossfield cut from Harvey Brown, looked off. Kitty going shoulder to shoulder, looking for separation, doesn't manage to get it. Forces the disc back to go to the midfield for Panaya. Around to Whitlock, marked by Pash, can't stop the big hug, looking for Kitty, he's good. Off the fingertips, and he recovers on the second attempt. He had to have done that on purpose.
Yeah, that was definitely showing off for sure.
Oh, Jack Kitty.
Too easy of a catch, right?
Yeah.
So why not push it away a little bit farther so you can do a big layout?
Yeah, Kitty or not, here he comes. Jack Kitty puts that one on the board to tie the game 4-4.
From obviously another Whitlock special, big long throw. He had the power position. Why not? You see Ketty in the downfield, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's one of the key things is that even in these conditions, the fact that you have players on both teams, you know, we're seeing a lot from Whitlock, but again, the capability is there on both sides, and not just from Whitlock as well. There's some great power handlers on this Wildcat side. The ability to eat up so much of the field with such control is huge in these conditions. You know, lower caliber teams or teams without that experience, without that depth, would have to take 20, 30, 40 short-range controlled passes in order to get that far up the field. Wildcats willing to do it in 2 or 3. Starting to bluster, starting to swirl a little bit. Bowen with the disc for the pull. James Bowen puts it up. The outside edge lift. It's going to touch and roll. Stopped by Dempster.
Great stop.
Douglas, as the defense closes, gets a bite from Bowen. There's a slip in the Wildcats downfield. He puts it long. Oh, there was a bit of hand to back there between Clark and Gardner, but Gardner's calling that a denial. Had great space. Even if the disc was overthrown on that one, he's still going to count it. And that's something that the punters can't really afford to do. Sheridan puts it long, but it's peeling over early. Oh, from the hands of Wessels, but great read to get underneath it.
It was a great read. Unfortunately, the defender was right there.
Yeah, I mean, even then, managed to get a hand underneath it, which is a hard thing to do as that disc was coming in. Maybe a little lower than Sheridan might have liked. He threw it under pressure. He's recalibrating.
Wind played a factor as well, for sure. Forehand.
But yeah, that's one that punters can't really afford to give up again. Clark cutting in open. Offloads, goes straight through to Eleveld. Low shot to Douglas at the halfway mark, marked by Leach. Puts the through shot, and it's off the fingertips. Wildcats firing back. Van Bergen to Gardner midfield. Bergen stretching straight into the deep space. Goes back to Leach. Little bit of a shimmy, finds an open James Bowen. Van Bergen pushing. Leach cuts crossfield, a great attack there. Is going to get it into the hands of Harris Kubra, who goes quickly back to Bowen. Sheridan there for a reset. Decides instead to go to Gardner with a little bit of a slip. Dempster takes a bite, skidding towards that far front corner. Gardner engages the reset. Comes back to Bowen despite a great upline corner cut looking for, the Jimmy Mickael special from Bowen. Finding Leach and back to Bowen. Great bid by Dempster, but it leaves Gardner unmarked. Finds Leach, continues through. Yeah. Finishes with a beautiful layout.
And that's a break back from Wildcats.
Yeah, that's going to be Wessels with the score, I believe. What a great break there. Putting them back on serve. The game is 5-4.
Wildcats had to string a bunch of passes together there. Some great reads, some great catches in the wind.
But if anyone can do it in these conditions, it's going to be the Wellington Wildcats. Not just, you know, the home advantage, but it's the conditions that they're so used to playing in. and how that shapes the amount of control that they have and the awareness they have of the conditions.
Yeah, many of them have played on this very field all year. So yeah, they're used to the swirling wind conditions. It's still not easy by any means.
No. And again, folks, just in case you're unaware, these teams are making it look far easier than it is. And if you don't believe us and you're in the local area, if you're here in Te Whanganui Ātara, come on down. We're over here in Newtown, McAllister Park. Grab a disc. We've got plenty on the sidelines for you to borrow. This would be one of those, you know how they always joke about the Olympics would be great if you could have a normal person competing alongside?
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I reckon we just get someone from Parliament, you know, Minister for Sport, get him out, give him a disc.
Yeah,
see
just
how strong
one
they are.
pass. Complete one pass.
If you could throw the disc more than 10 meters, you know, you basically have locked up your electorate seat again. Wildcats coming out on defense now. Whitlock with the disc for the pull.
It's obvious that the wind affects the throw, but it really affects the catch as well. The disc will rise and fall unexpectedly, and making sure you can attack that disc and get under it is really important.
Puts it high. Well fielded. Dempster takes the edge from a great forward push by Hayes. Goes back to Douglas. Oh, Francis comes out of his hands. Taylor tries to close that one. Panaya gets the reset to Kubra. Bowen with the shimmy ship. Pushes through. Recovered by Whitlock. But it looks like there was going to be a call further upfield.
I haven't seen a hand signal yet exactly to see what the call was. Looks like it was retracted.
Still unclear. Just waiting for some confirmation from the players as to what happened.
I think I saw some casual foul retracted hand signals, but it was a little unclear to me.
Looks like Wildcats will retain possession. Whitlock puts it up. It was a good put looking for Kubra, but I think Kubra maybe didn't commit to the cut early or was looking back over his opposite shoulder as to what the force was giving him. So
by the time the pass went up, I don't think there was anyone on the field that would have gotten to that one, unfortunately.
Like, still, great vision.
Yep.
Love to see it.
Got to take those shots.
Absolutely. And it's going to be Douglas to bring that one up. Chung opening up the midfield. A self-pick, which... bit of an interesting one. Chung was wide open. Kubra wasn't able to really close that gap. That's Harris Kubra, number 43 for Wildcats. A lot of separation there. Unless we're seeing the Wildcats bracket a little in the downfield, trying to just provide as much cover as possible. That is a pretty significant catch-up. But Chung will retain the disc. Works back to Clark in the midfield. Up and around, finds Francis. Safe hands again this time. Crossfield shot, but it blades over early despite a great attempt by Chung to keep that one alive. It's going to go back to the Wildcats and a chance here for their second break of the game.
That was a high difficulty throw for sure.
Panaya puts it up. A lot of float.
Wow.
Well stolen by Whitlock. Under pressure.
When you put up a throw like that, there's definitely one person you want coming down with the disc.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge put there, huge find. And that is going to be a break up for Wellington Wildcats as they go 6-4 in this race to 15. It feels like it, folks, but keep in mind this is not the final. This is part of our power pool, our crossover at the end of pool play. We're still only the first match, the first round of the second day of a 3-day tournament here in the nation's capital.
what I love to see about this game is we don't have too many clean holds, which means both teams are getting break opportunities on every possession, on every point, which means it's anybody's game.
Yeah, I mean, of the points that we've got so far, there's 10 total, 6 and 4. Only half of them have been clean holds, so there's been a lot of defensive contesting, which is great to see. The game itself, though, has stayed quite clean. We've seen a couple of calls. There was that unfortunate bump there between those two Wildcats defenders on that last possession. But other than that, it's been a really, really clean game, really minimal contact.
Yeah, agreed.
And we're going to see a timeout called, which, even though the scoreline's only a 2-point margin in it, it's a reasonable time to do so. Punters a little bit on the back foot, having just conceded 3 points in a row. Now is probably a great time for them to say, well, hey, we've got to figure out what we're going to do to stop the leak.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime you get 2 breaks against you is a good time to call timeout and say, are we doing things right? Are we doing things wrong? Were we just unlucky on those turns? Or what can we clean up? So, yeah, great time to take a timeout. Use them or lose them, right?
Absolutely. So, Wildcats out on defense yet again. Leach, Taylor, Whitlock, Penaya, Kubra, Van Bergen, and Bowen on the line for the Wildcats side. Hawley, sorry, on I think that's Hawley on the... No, it's not. Never mind. I don't know numbers. No, it is. Finn Hawley on the Wildcat side. Facing down. Jordan. Chung. Clark is on the line there. Taylor. Dempster. And Eleveld as well. Punters offense.
I think we're looking for a pull here. There we go.
There is the pull from the Wildcats. High angle, touch and roll, and a layout to stop that one by Eleveld. Quick recentering pass to Dempster.
You don't see that often.
Only when you need to, Andy. Through shot finds Jordan. One hand take by Douglas. Comes around, finds Chung. Laser show to Taylor. Jordan pushing to the far sideline. Penaya covers it. So agile on defense, has to go wide for the reset. Eleveld trying to continue to the far sideline. Not able to gain any yards in doing so. Taylor. Momentum carrying him out of the playing boundary. Working back. Bowen with a huge layout.
Amazing layout block there.
What a play by Bowen.
Wildcat sideline is fired up after that one.
And considering, I mean, the heat he put behind that gained them quite a few yards on the MAC.
Absolutely.
Whitlock with the hammer. The big bomber, but it's peeling over.
Well read.
Well found by Van Bergen. Goes through. Bowen to Van Bergen for the score as the Wellington Wildcats get another break. 3 on the bounce after a hold. For a 3-point lead, the score is 7-4 in favor of the nation's champions.
Yeah, putting their foot to the pedal now. Gaining more and more confidence with each break. That was a great read by Van Bergen there from that lovely hammer by Whitlock. Because the wind was carrying it farther and farther. I thought it might go out of bounds. But
the first 80% of that hammer was perfect.
Yeah.
And the last 20% was Van Bergen.
Absolutely, yeah. The wind did change a bit, I think, in the middle of that throw.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
and,
absolutely. Like that's where that came from. But it's going to be Leach with the disc as Wildcats seek to take half with a strong push here. But momentum is definitely on their side.
Punters leadership over there, giving an impassioned speech to the team. As we said earlier, lots of break opportunities from both teams on every point, so no need to hang your head quite yet if you're Punters. Plenty of game left. 3 points is nothing.
Exactly. I mean, it's a game of two halves for a reason. Bryn Douglas with the disc, facing down against the Wildcats zone. Manages to push near sideline to Eleveld with a big fake to get a bite out of Gardner. Swinging back towards Tsang, moving the defense in the midfield. Douglas has it now. Tsang gets it despite a great peel off by Swanson trying to close down the gaps. Eleveld looking for an option. Loses yards hitting the midfield, going back to find Tsang and Clark working together, pushing far sideline. Leach nearly gets a touch, but it's in the hands of Francis. There's a strip there as he pivots through.
Yeah, it should be an easy call there. Looked like a clear strip. Good for both players to at least give their perspective before they resolve it, though.
But it's an accepted foul there. And so it's going to be Francis to retain the disc as it's checked back in. Tsang slams on the brakes. Eleveld's the one who has to come back for it, though. Continues that push, far sideline, at the high side now. So the wind, a bit of advantage, but there's a touch from Sheridan.
Beautiful.
Another Wildcats break might be on the menu here, folks. Leach, a great deal of control in this win. Sheridan there. Separation from Clark. Brennan cutting back into the underspace. Unmarked. Douglas slowly closes the jaws. Big pivots, hits an inside break, but it's too high. Huge layout by Sheridan. Lands out of bounds, but sometimes you just got to leave it out there. Clark resets to Douglas. Tsang engaged, middle of the field. Eleveld open. Has to reach a little, puts the line drive up. Tony Clark hits the mark, pulls that disc in, and it is 7-5. A great and necessary hold for the Ōtākaro Punters.
Another example of high-level players making the difficult look easy. Clark really had to get on his horse to get to that pass down in the corner of the end zone, but
I mean, if anyone's going to do it,
yeah, he's definitely got the speed. Showing it off there, and that was a very, very important hold for the Punters. Stay in this game, deny the Wildcats halftime break.
Essential for them at this moment.
Perhaps the speech the coach gave them fired them up just enough.
Yeah, and only the players on the field will ever know what that speech was. We can posit, we can imagine, we can do our best to divine what wisdom was offered to the Ōtākaro Punters. It could have been, you know, a poem by one of the greats, or it could have just been
a bribe.
Yeah, it could have just been, just go get the block, go get the disc, go get the hold.
Yeah,
we may never know. Big pull is going up from the Punters. Well taken by Joe. Goes through to Panaya Smith. Line drive finds an open Keddy. Hogg stretching the deep space. Marked by Cooper. Is giving them a little bit of room to work with. Comes back around. The handler core of Keddy and Joe. Oh, fakes the backhand. Decides to go back to Whitlock now. Marked by Lee. Can't stop it, but that front edge is high. There's a lot of float. Who's under it? Fenn gets a tip.
Some nice tall defenders on that block.
O'Hara pushing wide. Back to O'Hara by way of Fenn. Through to McFarlane. Hogg a little too close to make O'Hara an appetizing target. Cooper stretching the depth. Can he get there? Oh, with a layout, but not quite enough. Kitty looking to snap back, goes to Whitlock as the momentum swings. Lee still on the mark. Hits the near sideline drive, looking for Ben Kubra. Back to Whitlock. Kitty pushing to the near side. It's the far side instead as a target. Joe takes it low. O'Hara on the mark, looking to stop the big option early. Whitlock stretching into the deep space. Panaya coming back for the reset there. To Jackson Joe. Calling for the undercuts. Whitlock in plenty of space, well within his range, putting it up. And that is going to be a Wildcats half 8-5. A great sequence there. Some defensive pressure generating turns, but Wildcats working hard to get it back and putting that one away. The score is 8-5 over Ōtākaro Punters.
So many great options from the Wildcats. People that can come back into that handler space and know they have the confidence to have throws that can go all the way across the field in this wind. Short throws, floaty throws, everything's in the repertoire.
Absolutely, but the bag remains deep, and we are going to see what both of these teams pull out of it in the second half when we come back after a very, very short break, giving these athletes an opportunity to rehydrate and us here a chance to try and get our heart rates back under 120. My name is Blair Monroe.
And I'm Andy Russell.
And with the team here at Ulti TV, please stay tuned for this exciting match in the 2026 Ultimate Championships here in Wellington, New Zealand.
Drift off like feathers in the wind. Do you think about making up or what we could have been? I can hear your thoughts loud and clear. You don't have to say a thing, my dear. Pretend that I'm not here. All I seek is some honesty, a stray of light in my darkest fears. I know you know, I know you don't care about my life, care about my life. Look at me, I have thick skin. You don't care about my life, care about my life. Look at me, I have thick skin. Did you play your part, hand too hard? Yeah, did you let me in? Did I give you space enough to waste every bit of ice? I can hear your thoughts loud and clear. You don't have to say a thing, my dear. Pretend that I'm not here. All I seek is some honesty, a stray of light in my darkest fears. I know you know, I know. You don't care about my life, care about my life. Look at me, I have thick skin. You don't care about my life, care about my life. Look at me, I have thick skin. My love, oh my love, oh my love. My love, oh my love, oh my love. Look at me, I have thick skin, as I'm sure I would give in. Fall apart, let you go and break my heart. Look at me, I have thick skin, as I'm sure I would give in. I know you know, I know. You don't care about my life, care about my life. Look at me, I have thick skin. You don't care about my life, care about my life. Look at me, I have thick skin. My love,
All right, folks, we are back for the exciting second half of the opening match for the 2026 Ultimate Championships here in Te Whanganui Ātara, Wellington, the nation's capital. It is the reigning champions, the native heroes here, the Wellington Wildcats, facing off against Ōtākaro Punters from Christchurch. The score is currently 8-5, 52 minutes on the clock in a race to 15 with a 90-minute soft cap. It's a repeat of last year's final. It is by some considered to be a preview of this year's final. But as all things Ultimate, the only game that matters is the one being played right now. My name is Willem Garnier.
And I'm Andy Russell.
And we are so glad to be here with the LTTB team here at Mickael Park to bring you coverage of this, the very best sport in the world, in the best country in the world. Wellington Wildcats to start things off on defense now.
Round one was to Wildcats, but a 3-point margin is nothing in Ultimate. So we've had lots of break opportunities from both teams on every point. So yeah, an easy margin to make up for the Punters.
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't believe us, folks, as well, coverage of one of yesterday's matches featuring Ōtākaro's brother team, the Putangitangi, facing off against Ōtākaro and friends. A similar thing where a pretty significant point margin was clawed back in the late stages of the match for a phenomenal performance by both teams and a little bit of an upset considering how the first half went.
Yeah,
So,
I believe it was 8-4. Yeah.
spoilers, Andy,
Sorry.
spoilers. What if they haven't watched it yet?
Oh my gosh, well then get on and watch it.
James Bowen with a big pull. We're seeing an offside call from the Punters.
Watch all the games. So due to the offside, they get to take it from the brick mark.
Kicking things off, Dempster goes to O'Hara with a big fake and a pick called in the downfield. O'Hara winds it up, marked by Kubra. Hits Dempster on the upline despite great pressure from Swanson trying to close. Clark stretching into the downfield. Douglas making himself an option, but the reset goes to Taylor. Marked by Bowen, a great matchup to see. Dempster on the second attempt manages to claw it back. Big fake, try to get a bite out of Swanson. Faking O'Hara through on the upline. It's so high, and Kubra is getting it on the second attempt, and that's a Wildcats turn. Back to Harrison Leach, marked by Douglas. The midfield closed off, can't push to the high side. Decides instead putting the huck up. Brennan's underneath it. Brennan takes it over Jordan. Quick offload through to Harris Kubra. In a strong position as the defense closes around Taylor. Overcommits and allows Bowen to get the reset pass. Backhand around. Harris Kubra puts it on for an opening break for the second half. Only minutes in it. A great performance there by the national champs, the reigning champs, the Wellington Wildcats, to put that one away and take a 4-point lead.
A big statement to make right out of half, taking away a little bit more hope from the Punters.
Huge
Let's watch
work
this play
there.
develop here. Wow. Lovely floaty pass there into the end zone.
Just really, really well found. Keeping it relatively low, pushing it into the wind a little bit.
So nicely weighted, that pass.
Really, really good find to Kubra in the end zone.
So 9-5 now to the Wildcats. 6 points away from victory.
Punters a little on the back foot at the moment. 4 breaks in it, quite a lot. Still, as we've said multiple times, and as important as to reiterate, there's no deficit that's too big to overcome.
Absolutely.
Whitlock has the disc for the Wildcats side to pull from the high side.
He's got something on his shirt there, rubbing some magic powder on the disc or something to get the extra long pull. Either that or he's just drying it off. I'm not sure which one.
High outside edge for some touch and roll.
That's a beautiful roller. Oh.
Stopped by Cooper. McFarlane picks up early, supported by Lewis. Line drive to Pash. Back around to McFarlane. Cooper trying to backfill the space. O'Hara with a bit of separation. Whitlock prowling around. Line drive and a layout from Van Bergen is going to generate the turn.
Foul called?
Foul called by McFarlane.
That was a great layout block from Van Bergen to get that turn. Some discussion about the call. Looks like we're ready to restart. Whitlock puts up a huge shot to Sheridan, and yes, he tracks it down.
Well found, and that is going to be yet another break as Wildcats go 10-5, doubling the Ōtākaro Punters score.
Yeah, just not too long ago, it felt like a very close game, and now Wildcats starting to open it up a little bit. A few hung heads on the punter side as they walk back to the other side of the field, perhaps getting in their heads a little bit. Where do you find the inspiration? Where do you find the heart, the soul, the drive to get yourself back into this game if you're the punters?
You got to dig deep is the biggest thing. That, I guess, coupled with the awareness that while this is a significant game, and they all are, a loss by the punters here does not preclude them from still facing off against the Wildcats again in the finals.
Right, we're not at the single elimination stage of the tournament yet, so yeah, a loss is not a death sentence at this point. That being said, you want to win every game if you can, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That clean sheet is...
Undefeated is fun defeated.
Yeah, exactly.
Whitlock so far, 2 goals, 3 assists for the Wildcats side. A really, really solid player and just a nice guy as well. It's kind of annoying, really. Can't be that good at a sport and just be an okay person to talk to.
You hate to see that kind of stuff.
Touch and roll and athletic stop there. Acrobatic stop almost. Douglas gets a bite out of Leach. Manages the short range continuation. Connects to Clark. Eleveld shimmying free. Taylor gets it despite a great attempt by Kubra to shut that down. Taylor goes around. Clark takes off, and there's a pick called in the downfield. Bowen on the mark. Dempster takes it on the near sideline. Gardner squirrely on defense. Can't stop the reset to Chung. Continuing through, Jordan with the disc now. Clark open in front of Bowen. Gets a bite. Not in a position to connect through just yet. Up and around. Leach is going to shut that one down. Wildcats turning it on to get the turn, hoping for their third back-to-back break in the half.
Yeah, just as it looked like punters were getting close to a score there, getting close to the end zone, an amazing block. Wow. It's got to be the hat.
Kubra. Inside shot to Leach. Squared up. Stanced up to put the big shot long. Decides instead for a short range to Gardner. Taylor with the layout. Shoulder height to shut that down. Eleveld straight in the way. Brennan's going to deny it. Bowen back to Leach. Pushes far side, layout's not enough. Trying to push into the wind, keeping it low is the right move, but it needs that level of control. Dempster picks up, goes to Taylor, straight through to Douglas. Faking, short range, back to Chung, and around. Douglas in strong position. Jeroen had a great cut to the near sideline, but there's a tip from Gardner.
He's fired up about it too. Oh, and we have a call. Injury? Yeah. Looks like Swanson limping off, hopefully not too serious. He's been an important player on this Punters team. A lot of the offense running through him. He's made a lot of great blocks.
Substitution there. We're going to see Lee take the field.
So another opportunity for Wildcats to get a break. After the Punters getting so close yet again. There's no such thing as a good turnover, but those ones that are right on the line, just, they eat away at you.
Puts the big huck up. Hard to stop, a lot of float, plenty of time for the defense to get into position. Chung shuts that down.
Really well read by Chung.
Nearly had the immediate fast break return option to Eleveld, but instead comes near side to Dempster. Back to Chung in center field. Connects with Lee. Back around to Chung. Fakes off Eleveld, finds the inside break. Puts the shot up, it's blading over, looking for Clark, well reeled in, right on the edge of the end zone. Jeroen to jump in despite a huge, huge bid from Ben Kubra. It's not gonna be enough. And the Wildcats do not get to put on 3 back-to-back breaks in the second half of this match as Punters bring it back within 4.
Third time's the charm for the Punters getting down there. That was a lovely run again from Tony Clark, showing off his speed. Maybe the fastest guy in the field. Although that's a stiff competition for sure with these players. But
I mean, it's definitely up there.
Yeah.
Kitty's foot speed, nothing to sniff at.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, it's one of those things too. It's important to recognize, right? Particularly in a sport that isn't as positional as some others, but quickness and top speed are, you know, 2 very, very different things. Nevertheless, heartbreak there.
Yeah, 3 turns from each team on that point. So a really important point, a really critical point for Punters especially. Not let this game get too out of hand. So they did their job on that point.
Great work there by the Punters to keep fighting in it. And it's as you said before that point, you know, what do you do to keep hope? And I think putting points like that on the board is probably what you have to do.
The old cliche of taking 1 point at a time. Just do the job right in front of you. The rest will take care of itself. Here comes the pull.
Jackson Joe to Panaya. Finds the inside shot, working through the defense. Connects to Whitlock, back to Joe. To Kitty. Whitlock now pushing into the deep space. Nothing developing for him just yet. An inverted 7 cut from Ben Kubra, trying to work through the midfield. It's handler dominated at the moment. Whitlock looked off. Pash too close on the defense. Huge layout attempt. He was baiting that one, but wasn't able to get to it in time. Whitlock in position. Kitty puts the brakes on. Takes it over Lewis. Through to Panaya. Layout from O'Hara. Still scrambles, gets back into position. Can't stop the reset around. Whitlock having to work short range passes. Pressure from the defense. This is where all that Wellington mini practice comes into play. High shot, Panaya over the top. O'Hara with a bid. Oh my God, Father.
Oh, wow.
Stop it. Somebody put that disc to the ground, please.
A slight gust right at the end there, just out of Panaya's reach, and then suddenly it was 4 people trying to take a bite out of that one.
So many attempts.
Yeah.
So well done by the Punters to close that one down. I mean, over the top of Panaya, and then the second touch, stabilized it, floated, went to Hog, went past Hog, finally found the turf.
I almost had time to run out there and try to grab that one.
Oh, yeah, you and me both.
Thought about it. I guess that would not have been taken very kindly.
So McFarlane is going to hold on to the disc here. Disc is checked in. Hog, aggressive on the mark, can't stop the reset to O'Hara,
wow.
who pulls a Jack Kenny right at the end to keep that one in hands. Big fake, goes back around to McFarlane. O'Hara puts the huck up. It's low and it's peeling to the right side. Not enough float under that one. Wildcats will be happy. Taking that turn for almost free. One of the sayings that they always trot out is you only have to play defense for a good 10 seconds. And those high stall count options that don't come away despite what we normally see, the level of caliber we see from a player like O'Hara, generating a turn. Little bobble to a layout bid. What a way to keep that one alive. Jackson Joe with the disc, marked by Lewis.
Taking his time, maybe getting a little bit of a rest here after that intense possession.
Cooper flashing the lane, can't stop the far side push. It's Whitlock with the disc, still marked by Pash. Kitty in strong position.
Ooh.
Off the hands of Whitlock.
Uncharacteristic.
Very low on that one. Lewis with floating time. Hog makes a bid, but it's not enough. And that is going to be a break for the punters.
Here we go. It begins with one.
That's the sound of the comeback train, folks. But Wildcats are not going to want to give up too many more of those. 3 points in it still. A still solid lead, but the punters demonstrating that they're capable of pouring on a strong break.
Yeah, that score started with an uncharacteristic drop from Whitlock in an unfortunate position and gave punters a short field to work with, and they pounced on it, took advantage.
Yeah, it was low, but it was still within his range. So it might have been a case of trying to spend it before he saved it, thinking about what the next sequence was going to look like.
Yeah, I've definitely been there. You're thinking about that next great throw you're going to make and how amazing it's going to be, and
how good it's going to be carried off the field by your teammates. You know, and everyone clapped.
But no, you got to make the catch first.
Absolutely.
But as you said earlier, the wind obviously makes the throws much more difficult, but really can make those catches a lot more difficult as well. What feels like an easy catch, suddenly the disc moves in a way that you're not expecting, and in a fraction of a second, suddenly it's on the ground. All right, can the punters build on that?
We
Get
are
another
about
break.
to find out.
Yeah,
we're only
about to
moments
find out.
away from seeing what they're able to do. But I think the key thing that's important to recognize is that that last turn wasn't a forced error. It wasn't, while punters were able to capitalize incredibly well, it was from a Wildcats error that generated that turn. Ooh. Huge layout! You know what? There's a foul called on that one, and it's accepted.
All I really saw there was a white streak flying through the air.
Will Trubshaw, greased lightning. He's out there. And a little bit of a disc check. Nothing, 35 seconds in a microwave won't fix. Bowen to retain possession for the Wildcats despite a great attempt by Trubshaw. Panaya gets it, marked by Hayes. Big fake the forehand, goes through to Sheridan. McFarlane, squarely on the mark. Can't stop it going to Leach. Back to Sheridan. Gets a bite. Forehand crossfield to Leach. Hogg cutting into the deep space now, marked by Lewis. Goes crossfield, connects with Whitlock. Puts the forehand up. Hard to beat Tyler Hogg in the deep space. Goes across, follows his cut. Slips it through, finding James Bowen for the score as the Wildcats go to 11. Back to a 4-point lead.
kids watching at home, you want to work on your throws, but you also want to work on your fakes. And what I've been really impressed with watching the Wildcats today is some amazing fakes from their handlers. You just need to move your defender a little bit to open up that space that you need to put up that great shot. Well, there we see that, what was eventually called a foul, but an amazing bid there. And then Tyler Hogg getting involved. Very patient on the line, waiting for the play to develop. Eventually someone's going to make a good cut for you.
Yeah, I mean, a team like Wildcats, everyone on the field's capable of making a good cut. It's only a matter of time.
It's so impressed with their patience on the line and the calm that they seem to exude, like very confident.
Yeah. But it's confidence born of repetition. You know, these sequences that there's sequences that they've run countless times.
Yeah.
They've run it in practice. They've run it in games.
So back to a 4-point margin, and we've got just over 15 minutes left in this game before the soft cap. So Punters are really going to have to turn it on to make up those 4 points before we hit the time. But it is still within their means, within their grasp.
Difficult, but not impossible.
So Sheridan with the pull now. It's a good corner to start from in this wind.
Douglas to Dempster. Francis calling for the disc, not an option. Douglas marked by Gardner, trying to push the line. Eleveld hits Douglas, closing in on the halfway, puts the big shot up. It's turning early, but the wind's underneath it. Swanson gets a touch. He'll count that as a block.
Such a challenging throw in this wind.
Yeah. I mean, you could see that it was pretty much on target until the wind picked it up mid-flight.
I think all of us watching that game could have, our throw maybe would have made it half that distance in this wind.
Not even half.
Yeah, I mean, such a difficult
for me
throw.
anyway. Speak for yourself, Andy.
Wow.
Wildcats to return, hoping to go 12 and take the widest margin they've had in the game.
There's a reason I'm on the microphone and not out on the field. Let's just put it that way.
Puts it up, looking for Hawley. Huge contact through that one. Francis getting a bite. He's going to shut that one down.
Well defended. That was a clean block.
Finds the Taylor at the halfway. Swanson closing in the trap. Oh, a little bit of not quite push off to find Chung. Pushing hard to the far sideline over the top. Recovered well by Eleveld. Quick reset through to Chung. And back to Eleveld. To Chung again. They're in motion. Static in the downfield. They're focusing on the handler movement to get things going. Taylor has the disc now. Chung on an aggressive upline. Out in front of Whistles. Eleveld to Chung. And that's going to be a hold there by the Punters.
Back within 3. There's still time.
Absolutely necessary.
But to get back into this game, it's going to take more than just holds. It's going to take breaks. So it's on their defense.
Woo, the wind is picking up, and how, folks? Very, very strong and blustery. Such great work by Chung on that entire sequence, running a dominator from the Punters' backfield. Eleveld and Taylor doing a huge amount of work, and while it might not look like much was happening in the downfield, it's important to recognize that those Punters players had the responsibility of maintaining spacing and keeping their defense occupied, so that as opposed to a 7-on-7, pulling 4 of those defenders out and allowing enough space for the punters to just get some good footwork in, putting that one on the board.
Yeah, and it's good to see Ollie Taylor back out there on the field after his injury a few points ago, so no permanent damage, hopefully.
Good pull to be picked up by Kitty. Can't get the first pass, though, which is great defensive chasing by the punter's side. Goes to Jackson Joe. Hayes poaching in that near side lane. Going back and around. Panaya with the disc at the moment. Whitlock making himself available as an option on that near sideline. Pushed back into the end zone, a chance here. Pressure is everything from punters. Panaya Smith trying for the give and go. Using the width. Finally making it out of the end zone. Wellington Wildcats in a much stronger position. A slip, but it's in hands, which is what counts. Back to Whitlock.
Back in the end zone again.
Panaya Smith calling for separation. Has to go up and over. The scuba is secured. Kubra and through to Panaya. Back around to Whitlock. He's winding up that forehand. Decides instead to push to the near sideline, looking for Panaya. Backhand rip. And it's blading back over, but it's well taken down by Brown. Brown wanting to finish. Definite contact on that one. Cooper trying to close in on Ketty, not picking the cleanest line. Another 10 minutes on our clock here, folks. Wildcats, it's Brown with the disc. Goes back to Hogg. Whitlock is an option. Ooh. The wind there with a little bit of bounce is going to give the disc back to the punters. Pop pass around to McFarlane. He wants the big forehand, but it's not going to go. Decides instead, continues up that far sideline. Off the hands of Pash, and it's secured by Kubra. Wildcats get another chance. Panaya to pick it up at halfway. Marked by O'Hara. Hogg and Whitlock both stretching the downfield. And a call there. Jackson Joe hits the shimmy. Big fake comes around. Finds an open Whitlock. Pash closing mark. Trying to use the long limbs. Panaya takes it with one hand and safe. Off the hands of Joe. O'Hara at the end zone line. Pushes far side. Finds Hayes. Keeps working, back to O'Hara on an upline. Pash up over the top, takes the scuba. Hogg having switched on to defense now. Whitlock covering the deep space. Cooper underneath. No, it's not. Whitlock gets in the way. Connects to Hogg. Slip by Whitlock means the disc can't go away, but Panaya finds himself open, puts the rip up. It's a little low. Well taken by Joe, though, despite coverage by McFarlane. And as you say, a timeout called.
What do you think about a timeout in that situation? I think it's the right call.
Yeah, we've had a number of log passes, long sequences, a couple of turns.
Quite a few drops, actually, on that on that point. Wildcats forced to start way back in their end zone. A couple of times. demonstrating that thing we've talked about a couple times already now, their patience, their confidence in their handlers to get it out of the end zone. I thought we were maybe, definitely in Callahan territory. Or Callahan country, as they say, right? You gotta alliterate on that one.
Where you can. But yeah, great block there. A huge attempt by McFarlane. But yeah, Wellington.
Yeah.
I think the reason the timeout there is because all of the Wellington players, the Wildcats, were
Behind.
further in the backfield.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's a case of, hey, sure, they're fast. We know about their foot speed. They've got, 2, 3, 4 seconds, and they'll manage to eat up that, 40 yards to get into a decent defensive position. But by that point, the stall count is halfway over. Right?
Yeah.
So the 10 seconds that you're allowed to hold onto the disc as counted by an opposition player is half over. And that's just to set the structure, not to make an initial cut. And so a little bit of defensive pressure. If the first 2 cuts in that option aren't good, aren't viable, that's going to be your turnover there. So a great call there by Joe to just give the Wildcats an opportunity to reset. They're at about the brick mark, folks. So there's a mark about 18 meters in front of each end zone in the middle of the field. But that tells us that the Wildcats only have to make up about 15 to 20 meters to put the score away. They're up to about 28 passes across all of their possessions in this point. So they're definitely capable of stringing those passes together. They won't need too many from here to put one on the board. But what it does do is that it puts them in a pretty solid position, and then the punters have to recognize what the major offensive threats are and what they are capable of doing in order to respond to them.
The other thing that timeout does is give you a few more minutes ticked off the clock as we approach getting close to 5 minutes away now from soft cap. So when you've got a lead like that, it'd be a little bit of a strategy to take advantage of. But yeah, it was also a very long point and nice to get a little bit of a break. These guys are in really good shape, but even they get tired, believe it or not. So yeah, everybody's setting up now after the timeout.
All right. So we're about to kick things off. Wildcats hoping to put their 12th on the board. Francis marking Whitlock, but gets the separation. Takes it with one hand. Hogg was wide open in the back of the end zone. Decides instead, comes across. I believe that's Brown with the score for the Wildcats as they go to 12.
A lot of options there for the Wildcats in that position, and pick the right one. The right one's the one that scores, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like when they say it's in the last place you look. You don't keep looking after you found it. And it's the same thing as the right option, as you say. It's the one that lets you stop playing for a few minutes.
And I think now we are finally starting to get into that territory where the margin is a little bit too high and the clock is a little bit too short for the punters to make a realistic attempt at winning this game. But what you can do is get a little bit more experience against a top-level team. See what you can do. Hope you meet them again in the finals.
The scuba over the top to Brown.
Always nice to have a good scuba in your repertoire for these sorts of situations.
Coming to the closing stages. Now keep in mind, folks, that when we talk about a soft cap, the key thing to recognize there is that once we hear the hooter go at the 90-minute mark, we're going to finish the point being played. We add 1 to the highest score, and that becomes our new target for the winning point of the match. So if our hooter were to go now, we'd finish this point. Let's say the punters score, the score would become 12-9. It would be a game to 13. So we'll reiterate that in a few minutes for you. But first, the James Bowen for the Wildcats is about to pull things off.
I remember having to explain to my dad like 3 times in a row what a soft cap was and how it worked, and I still don't think I quite got through to him.
It's all right. These things happen.
But I mean, it's not that difficult to understand, is it?
No, it's pretty straightforward. Douglas pushing through to Eleveld in motion. A side stack trying to isolate Francis. Clark gets the disc. Big fake to get a bite out of Whistles. And around,
Oh,
touch
there we
from
go.
Leach. What a turn. Great attack by Leach.
I'm more and more convinced there's something in that hat that lets him do that.
Oh, it's got to be.
Yeah. Sheridan to pick up. And that's a turn.
Pushing back the other way.
Stalkout's getting high.
Pressure from Taylor, hits the inside to Jordan. Goes to Douglas at the halfway. Puts it up, looking for Clark. Oh, too easy. Punters back within 3.
So smooth. And you know you've got that nice fast target in Tony Clark. In case the wind picks up in gusts, he'll be able to run it down, but actually in the end it was a bit of an easy catch for him. So hold for Punters, maybe giving them a little bit of confidence going forward. This game's not over yet. Can put a few more points on the board. Let's get another look at that. Perfectly weighted forehand pass, and Clark, all he has to do is watch that disc float gently into his hands. Got a pull coming up from Punters.
Lewis putting it up. There is going to be a heard off in the distant background. We're going to play this point out. Penaya pushes far sideline to Whitlock. Big shot goes up, looking for Kubra. Front edge high, Lewis can chase. Kubra takes the edge. Wildcats go to 13. And with the hooter going, it's game to 14 here, folks. 4 points up for the Wildcats. A little bit of a longer run for Punters if they want to walk away with the win.
I've been really impressed in this game with the clean contests by both teams. At this high level with a lot of big shots going up. A lot of floaty passes. Often you'll see collisions and fouls, and it's been very, very clean, in my opinion. Here we can see here. Elevating and grabbing the disc just at the peak of his jump. Very well read. And a great pass from Whitlock.
Huge chase. Lewis taking a tumble, getting bumped off by Cooper. But Kubra coming down with that one. So what might be the last point of the game if the Wildcats can pull out a break here. Although it's been a string of holds for us as we close out this opening match of the 2026 Ultimate Championships. So strong performances around the mid-game by the Wildcats have seen them push an aggressive lead. Bowen to pull for the Wildcats. Oh, the wind definitely picking up. Good roll, but it's going to be stopped well by Clark. Chung to pick up, supported by Douglas in the backfield. Gets the first pass off early. Dempster with separation over Swanson, but it's not an attractive option. Goes to Jordan. Near sideline. Huge layout there and enough pressure. It looks like that one's an accepted foul, so the layout coming a little early. Although it looked like that was just a bit of a misconnected throw beforehand. Clark was having to reach back for that one, but he'll retain possession anyway. Gets it through to Tsang. Low shot to Francis at the far sideline. Line drive and a layout bid's not enough to stop it. Puts the shot up, looking for Clark. Oh, it's just out thrown. It's a hard thing to do, but they manage it.
It's the kind of throw you want back after you see the results. Like, oh, if I just waited that a little bit more. But yeah, seeing Clark running gives you the confidence. Another clean block. And we got Punters with, oh wait, perhaps not. Some discussion.
Seeking for perspective from the sideline. Keddy for the Wildcats, offering a little bit of external information. So we see again the big shot with the outside edge high. Francis with great position. But that right hand up over the top of Wessel's arm on the attempt. And that is going to be a contested foul. The disc is going to head back. Bowen is going to be given the opportunity to send it again. Hoping to finish out the game for the Wildcats. A violation called as players start moving from their positions before the disc was made live. The wind blustering, strong as we see the horizontal stack there from the Wellington Wildcats, hoping to put it away. Jeroen on the mark. Bowen puts it up and it's turning early. Yeah, touch and roll.
Huge gust of wind as he threw that. That was going to be difficult for anybody to make that throw. Our tent nearly blew over here in the commentator's booth.
Wouldn't be the first time this tournament, wouldn't be the first time in this city. Douglas makes a move from Gardner. Both players, both Kubra and Tsang, slipping in the midfield, and it's going to give the disc back. Not able to connect to Jeroen for the Punters. Very, very close at the red zone. Bowen only 2 passes away from putting it here. Decides instead for the reset to Van Bergen. Big backhand. Fakes through, finds Swanson to Bowen. Low shot back to center field to Bowen. In motion, Gardner. Sean Gardner, DJ Flex himself, putting the last point on the board. Past our soft cap in a game to 14. Wellington Wildcats are going to take it out over last year's silver medalists, the Ōtākaro Punters. A great performance by both these teams, with the Wildcats looking untouchable in the early stages of the tournament. 5-time champions for a reason, folks. But here in the nation's capital, we'll see again. Bowen to Swanson to Bowen. Through to Gardner. Despite Lee peeling off, trying to make a great play on that one defensively, it's not going to be enough. What a match, folks, but please do stay tuned. We've got exciting games coming up here. We have 2 ultimate powerhouses, Nexus from Wellington in the women's division, facing off against Blueberries Jam from Auckland.
Ooh, that'll be a good game.
And how. We are really, really excited to bring that one to you. But from the team here at UltiTV, a huge thanks for watching. Please stay tuned for the next one. My name is Blair Munro.
And I'm Andy Russell.
Ka kite.
goodness. That is unbelievable. And bring it to that was absolutely incredible.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with Ulti TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Ulti.tv